Hello everyone. Now, pardon my hair, it's wet because I've just come out of the shower. But you know what they say, cleanliness is next to godliness, so there you go. But anyway, joking aside, I want to talk to you about something that just occurred to me. Something that I find quite interesting, and it's about the perfection of the Quran. The perfection of the Quran, the claim that the Quran is a perfect book, is in fact anti-Islamic. I'll explain why. I'll also take this a little bit further and see where accepting that premise might lead. And I would think it actually leads in a very interesting and positive direction. But let me first explain what the reason is behind my claim. I've spoken to a number of Muslims, and from moderate to quite strict as well, and while some of them would start off by condemning me as an atheist and claim that I would not be given entry into the paradise that they believe in, when pressed on the matter, they would always accept in the end that, hang on a second, they cannot make that claim. The ultimate decision is not down to them, it is down to their God, Allah. Allah is the only entity that would be able to decide whether I, as an atheist, would be given access to their paradise, and other such things. The important point of this argument is the acceptance that the ultimate arbiter of anything, the ultimate reference point for truth, is Allah, according to Muslim belief. It's Allah. Think about that for a moment. Imagine that you've got this ultimate reference point, Allah, for determining truth, but on the other hand, you have a perfect book describing Allah. That is a problem. Can you see what I mean? It's a problem because if a perfect book were to describe Allah, its descriptions would be perfect, and that of course then would impose restrictions on Allah. It would restrict Allah in the sense of how it could behave, what decisions it could make, and it would in fact undermine its ultimate authority and sovereignty. That cannot of course be true if you're a Muslim. So if you're presented with this conflicting situation, Allah versus the perfect Quran, which has to give? And I think that if you're a true Muslim, you will have to accept that Allah cannot be attacked that way. You cannot restrict Allah, and therefore it has to be the Quran that cannot be perfect. It may be close to perfect, you may believe that it's close to perfect, but you couldn't make the claim that the Quran is in fact perfect. And it's not even that strange to see why this has to be the case, because in the end the Quran has been written in a human language by human beings. Whether this was under the direction of Allah or not doesn't make any difference. The language is still human, and as such is ambiguous and fallacious, even if it's the best language in the world, as some Muslims claim. So that leads you now to accept that the Quran does not have to be perfect. And that relieves Muslims from an awful lot of other problematic situations, if you think about it. For example, there have been a number of Muslims trying to prove that the Quran is scientific in nature, that it contains knowledge it couldn't have contained. Now there's no more need to do that. You can quite happily accept that some of the information in the Quran isn't 100% accurate. Also, in the Quran, Allah himself encourages people to investigate nature scientifically, basically. To find out about nature and how it works is encouraged in the Quran. And now, knowing that the Quran doesn't have to be perfect, gives you the freedom to do this without worrying about what you might find and how this might reflect on what's already been written in the Quran. So what if you improve in knowledge on what is in the Quran? That is what Allah wanted. That is why Allah encouraged you to go and find out more about nature. So being a Muslim should in fact be an encouragement for you to go and become scientific. Being a scientist, even though a lot of scientists are atheists, being a scientist does not require you to become atheist. You can become a scientist and retain your Muslim, your Islamic identity quite happily. That is a privileged situation to be in. A lot of other religions cannot allow that. Fundamentalist Christianity, for example, is in conflict with science. It has to be in conflict with science because it has a book that is purported to be absolute truth. And wherever that book conflicts with science, a fundamentalist Christian has to find reality. That is a sad situation to be in. And count yourself lucky as a Muslim that you are not in that situation. So I think this is a very positive realization that the Quran does not have to be perfect. And it paves the way forward for us all, atheists and Muslims, to come closer together and start realizing that we're two different sides of the same coin of humanity, and that we should therefore be able to cooperate in a lot of things and live side by side in peace. Anyway, that's me waxing a little bit lyrical. I hope this was useful and it might have got some people thinking. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.